So you go to extricate them. Is when victim support unit reach and police reach in a situation that somebody's life is in danger and they don't know, or worse, they don't care. That distorted love, that codependent, dysfunctional, insane love that writes the top 10 love songs. When you look into people's eyes and see the vacancy where knowledge should be. So I know that some people will think, Eric, get we independent. No, sir. England wanted we gone. England, the Caribbean. We had started a thing called the Federation of Caribbean States. And there is a place between St. James and Ellerslie Park, between St. James and Bossier Village, for those of you who don't know where Ellerslie Park is, on Long Circular Road, heading north from Western Main Road. If you're heading in a northerly direction towards Long Circular Mall, for those of you who are not from town, but may have passed there, that first traffic light you come to right after everything that continues on from the barracks, because all of that there is the barracks. And the barracks will go right up to inside of what I'm going to tell you is Federation Park. And that road is called Barbados Road. And inside they have Antigua and St. Kitts, and they have streets named for all the Caribbean islands. It is not in their honor. It was named for the Caribbean islands because Federation Park was created to house the dignitaries of all the states, the nation states, and the support systems for what was going to be a federation. Something like the United States of America. We were going to be the United States of the Caribbean. And on our way there, Jamaica and Trinidad fall out. And we are there, and the Queen ready to deal with us and the Federation, and we fall out. And Eric mash it up. Because Jamaica and Eric fall out, and then Eric mash it up. He said 1 from 10 is not. And the Queen said, no. All you're leaving here, independent. So go in that room, because I will deal with you all as 10. Or I will deal with you all as 1 each, but we leaving. So you all act together. If you're not coming out of this a federation, you're coming out of this as 10 independent states, but we leaving. So don't pretend that Eric went there and pleaded for our independence. Eric went and tell the Queen, we are ready. She said, you're ready. We coming out. August 31st, 1962, the Union Jack is lowering for the last time in Trinidad and Tobago. So if you are ready, somebody else will be. And the notion that the PNM were the authors of our independence is pure bullshit. Eric Williams was a historian, the legal luminary that was responsible for our independence, who wrote most of the documentation at Marlborough House, was my son Joshua's grandfather, Zainul Hussein's brother, Tajmul Hussein, who was one of the brightest lawyers this country ever produced. His name and his signature is on many of the foundation documents. He was the man who founded the Express. But he was never a push to front kind of fella. When he died, when Tajmul Hussain died, the entire legal fraternity wanted to attend the funeral. The family said, he will leave the way he lived, family alone. He was never a man to beat his chest. He was never a man to look for high office. Tajmul Hussain was a brain. I want to tell you all of this for those who don't know, because our education system is pure shit. And they teach you PNM-centric Eric Williams bullshit. But Eric Williams was a front for a lodge. Eric Williams was a front for a Mason-controlled backroom boys organization, and they created something called the People's National Movement to take control of the treasury away from the colonial masters. Nothing that happened where our independence was concerned had anything to do with anybody caring about any people, black, Indian, or otherwise. And it is those people who carried on the colonial tradition of dividing to rule. So Eric Williams had to quickly, even though without the East Indian contingent in Marlborough House, he wouldn't know what to do. And for a while, the top layer of the PNM was some powerful East Indians, but they didn't know what they were getting themselves into, all of them, that what was going to be dictated to them by the backroom boys, because this greed and pilfer thing going on in Trinidad, from day dot, all of it, all the bullshit of it has been going on from the very start. And the Queen just wanted nothing more to do with Trinidad and Tobago, nothing more. So they left. And now we're in the hands of the lodge, the Mason boys, and the backroom crew, and we have Eric Williams in front, and the country started to sway. So they needed enemies, and they needed to divide the country, and they divided the country on Eric Williams turning on the East Indian community and the whole recalcitrant minority, and who don't like it could get the hell out of here, and all that kind of nonsense that generated. They created a program. There was a name before Dude, I think, I can't remember. I think there was a name before Dude, which became URP, which begat CPEP. But Dude was created to take black labor off of the farms, because the East Indian community was seen as being too powerful. This is no joke, you know. All of this is your history, and you should know it. While all of that was going on, foreign investors were taking advantage of our agriculture wealth, our cocoa. Our cocoa was milked. Our sugar, Tate and Lyle. I mean, what was going on in Trinidad and Tobago? Slavery ended, but Tate and Lyle was still allowed to carry on slave-like conditions in the sugar industry. All of this is your history. Tate and Lyle became Caroni Limited, which begat the United Labour Front, Basdeo Panday, which became the UNC after the fallout with the NAR, because it always came back down to race. Panday taking his Indians and go form Club 88, which became with John Humphrey and Trevor Sudama, the United National Congress in Aranguez, Savannah. But what Lee Kuan Yew inherited as Singapore, a country less than half the size of Trinidad, impoverished, criminal. It was a prostitution, human trafficking capital of the world. Singapore was not a good place. And before Lee Kuan Yew could do anything, he entered into a contract with the people. And he said, these are the things that I'll get done. And if I don't get it done, this is my undated resignation. And he went on to clean Singapore, so clean that it has no crime. None. Today, none. Singapore has no drugs. None. I was watching a television show on the Travel Channel. This guy, Anthony Bourdain, who was traveling the world and doing his shows, the fellow who came here and did the interview with the Syrians with the olive oil drizzling and the 5,000 and was the most powerful, that's him. When he was going to Singapore, he said, when you enter Singapore airspace, the pilot has an obligation to tell you that the stewardesses are passing around with bags to collect any illegal drugs you have. And if you don't know, because there could be drugs that you consider pharmaceutical drugs that are illegal in Singapore, and if you're not sure, and if you don't need it, throw it in that bag. Because Singapore, they don't eat nice. They'll execute you. And that is as serious as you have to be when you want to turn a criminal dungeon into a proper country. Now, I'm saying this because another political activist likes to take my words and say them as if it's theirs. The things that I have put into the public space are things that I know firsthand. Family. So they know it as a philosophy. So when they come to say the things that I say, because they've never had to lose. They've never had to lose family and community and friends to stand up for the country. For them, it's still just a stunt, and they could copy and paste what Philip says, and it's okay, you know, it's okay, because I monitor and I see the following is a handful and it's small, and most of them are people that would prefer to hear those words, but not from me, and I accept that not everybody will love me, and I accept that the role that I play in the politics cannot be soft. The role that I play in the politics, it exhausts me. If you think it hard to hear, imagine how hard it is to say, or to hear yourself say it every day. So there are nights when I don't want to do a live video. I don't. Sometimes I just don't want to have this conversation tonight. The only reason I can have this conversation tonight is while we were playing, I was listening to a lot of music. I had YouTube running, and a nice YouTube channel running, and I was listening to a lot of Il Divo and Robbie Williams, Glenn Campbell. So it's music with a narrative that takes your mind away. And when that happens, my brain gets a rest, because my brain don't stop having this conversation. It's a constant conversation in my head. That's how you find solutions, by hitting at it. But sometimes you just need a break. Sometimes you need a break. I am a member of a WhatsApp thread with the leadership of the Citizens Union. Today, I stepped out of the group. I said, I need some peace for a minute. There's too much. It's too much going on around me. People are storming my contact info with everything they find or every problem they have. So every time I pick up the phone, I actually have a new phone with a new number just for family now. Because sometimes I have to just turn off 682-2110. It's like a switchboard. But anyway, when I say that my role in the politics is to go back to 1962 and find all of our money. When I say that, know that I mean it. When other people say it, it's because they see the numbers that I get. And they hear people say, boy, I don't like that man, you know. You see that fella, Philip Alexander, I don't like him at all. But I'm telling you, if they have one man will shake this place up and straighten it out, it's him. That there is nobody else in the politics, none. There is nobody else, even if they say it. He's been consistent. He's been the only person that's been talking about the Pitch Lake. Philip's been talking about the Pitch Lake 20 years now. When nobody else was asking a question about the Pitch Lake, Philip on 91.1 in the morning was asking ministers, where is the accounting for the Pitch Lake? Philip Alexander is the only person that's been talking about the Scott drug report and the people that are involved in narco trafficking in this country. Philip has been consistently dealing with white-collar crime, alienating people that should be, because of his caramel latte complexion and the circles that he moved in all of his life, people that should be contemporaries and friends and even colleagues. Philip has been consistent in the things that he's been saying. I was at a party this is a couple of years ago. You all see, I don't party much. And if I party, I take a picture. So I was at a party, I think it was Christmas time at the commissioner's residence. The only time I ever went to a party there. And I was talking to a friend. He said to me, a man tell me, he said, boy, There's one thing I want to tell you about. That man prolific. He don't stop. And that's not, none of that is me patting myself on my back, because all of that came at immense sacrifice. It has not been easy. I look at the gaps in Joshua's life, my son Joshua, and I look at Bella. And that's why tonight I had to give Bella time, and I had to sit down and play Paw Patrol Dollhouse. Because it's always them sacrificing, and you never realize how much of your family life that you sacrifice for this, whatever this is. Because the chances of me winning an election in Trinidad and Tobago is smaller than Keith Rowley sprouting a head of bleach blonde hair. Much smaller. The chances of me ever winning an election in this country, not just because of racism. Racism is a large part of it. I'm not black enough to be black. I'm not Indian enough to be Indian. So I'll always be, and I'm not white enough to be white. I've always been none of the above. Not just racism. When Brian Lewis said this is a jokey country, he was being kind. This is a criminal country. Basdeo Panday said politicians couldn't be criminal without criminal businessmen and criminal lawyers. He's correct. He's correct. Criminal accounting firms. It's a lot of money to move. When you start, you see how when they just pull a thread in Wassa, and everybody, wife and husband and people start, all kind of things that they ain't start yet, you know. If you get in any other country, the information that came out of Wassa in 1 week was so damning that you were supposed to immediately, in a real country, announce a commission of inquiry into Wassa and jail all of those that have been engaged in corruption, chairmen and leaders and ministers, all jail them. But this is not a real country. It is a jokey country. But it's a criminal country. And the reason I can't win an election in this country is a lot of the people who will tell you, Philip, don't vote for him. Don't vote for him. They're not finishing the sentence. They don't want to tell you that they are a beneficiary somehow. That their life and their value and what they possess, their material possessions, where they are in society, is owed to corruption, that they are a link in the chain, and that they know that they're a link in the chain. I told you all when I found out about licensing office and my father friend, that was corruption. I didn't know it was corruption because I grew up in it. So I just thought that's how it is. No. And I used to hear as a little boy, it's not what you know, is who. When they say it's not what you know, is who, it's not like you know them, and because you know them, things will benefit you, you know. It's who you know that in the Kakada that know you. And then people used to tell you, it's not just who you know, it's who know you. Who you know in the Kakada, willing to Kakada with you. Trinidad is an extremely corrupt country. We've had people from on the bench in our judiciary, in our magistracy, in our justice system. You don't get this broken. You don't get this broken. And it just be Eric, and it just be Manning, and it just be Panday or Kamla and Rowley. It's not them. The reason to despise them is they hold the reins. And Kamla can't be forgiven for that. All the shit she talking today about the Speaker of the House and vote on no confidence, ma'am, with an abundance of respect, you held the reins. You had a special majority. You could have written laws to fix it in a heartbeat if you wanted. You didn't have to write new laws. We are part of a commonwealth. And all of the laws could be copied and pasted into Trinidad and Tobago. And most of the commonwealth have laws that work. New Zealand, Australia, Canada. We could have gone to them. So all the talk you're talking now, too little, too late. When Basdeo Panday walking through Trinidad, constitutional reform, constitutional reform, constitutional reform. But you golf your ass for 5 years. You golfed your ass, Panday, for 5 years. You laugh at we. You unleash Ish Galbaran Singh, Brian Quaitong and his girls and his friends, and Steve Ferguson and Russell Huggins and the airport 9, 11 and 13. You unleashed that. You unleashed Hafiz Karamat. You unleashed the Salcott, Basdeo Pandey. While you were golfing and the country was being looted by your financiers, when Ramesh Lawrence Maraj pulled you down, a local Chinese financier of yours, owned company, somebody who made, be careful, tried to steal the whole bandwidth around Trinidad and Tobago, that any number, any cell phone, anything would have paid them. You are the man that tried to sell Caroni rum stocks for a song. And later on we found that the person you were selling those stocks to put money in your wife's account. The reason to despise Rowley, Kamler, Manning, Chambers, Robinson, Pandey, Williams is because they had the reins. Lee Kuan Yew, when he took over Singapore, the drug lords in Singapore didn't want to stop their drug trade. The prostitution rings didn't want to stop the prostitution. The people who were human trafficking didn't want to stop human trafficking. So he had to clean house. There are people in Trinidad and Tobago. We lead the world in corruption. We lead it. We are the country that gave a head of Transparency International an ambassadorship. So the people who was overseeing you get rewarded for overseeing you. This country ain't joke broken, you know. Our courts are busy overseeing defamation lawsuits. Now these defamation lawsuits, I want you to understand, the defamation lawsuits are all a pelter stone. But the majority of people who could sue you with a defamation lawsuit have access to public funds, either funds they've already gotten to themselves, and when anybody get public funds, it's tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, or people who are currently beneficiaries of public funds. Tomorrow, I have two matters. Two. Noel Garcia, who was the man in charge of Las Alturas, that cost us all that money, that breakdown, that he was supposed to give evidence. He was the person that refused to testify, and we realized that the law couldn't compel him, or some nonsense like that. But Noel Garcia and this UDICOT, because he's the head of this UDICOT, and him and Rowley tag teaming long time, calling his name in the UDICOT fiasco for President's House and the Red House, has me answering a defamation lawsuit for him. We are at a point where you cannot call people's name. There's something called fair comment. Tomorrow, the former chairman of WASA is a lawyer who was appointed as the chairman of WASA. All boards answer to the Minister of Finance. And the Minister of Finance, Colm Imbert, is suing me. And I have that matter tomorrow as well. And that's two matters. And I want to tell you something. I don't say these things easily. I'm saying these things so that you know that you are in a country where if you are standing up to fight, there are levels that you have to go through that are in any other country in the world, it would be madness. The Keith Rowley government, the Keith Rowley that promised a whistleblower law, is the Keith Rowley's government that has sued more people for defamation for calling out public office holders. Now I'll tell you this again. I want to say this again. There is no way in heaven or hell that it cost $500 million to renovate the Red House. There's no way. And UDICOT using public funds, taxpayer funds, to sue a taxpayer, paying senior counsel Deborah Peake. That is what UDICOT is doing. UDICOT is in court suing me for questioning if you, the court, could have spent $500 million, $500 million. And I'll tell you something, I am in development, I am in construction, and I could build a replica of the Red House for $100 million. You could get 5, and that's slack. I want to tell you 50 million. I want to bring any contractor and they tell you it's 2 floors. You don't have nothing there that you put in brand new. All of the structure, all of the substance, all of the foundations, columns, beams, walls were there. The same windows and doors have been refinished. They stripped the paint, filled the cracks, painted back, and put it back up. So even if you had to pull wire, the conduit was there. Even if you had to resurface the walls was there. It couldn't cost $500 million. But to shield the government from answering, they are going to go at me. But I am going to fight that with every ounce. And you see, because Trinidadians don't take their country seriously, 500,000 people didn't go outside the Red House the day we led a protest at the opening of the Red House. And a man with no teeth in his mouth and a woman with a big lump growing on her neck cussing me. Leave Rowley alone. But Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore, and I am the person who started talking Singapore. When nobody used to talk about Singapore. Because I'm doing this long time, and I was talking about what Lee Kuan Yew and what Singapore, the legacy of Singapore was. That when you engage in graffiti on a public building in Singapore, you get sentenced to blows, licks with a cane. A man gets sentenced and begged. Ronald Reagan begged and said, no. The message that we send, he was supposed to get 6 lashes, he get 4. That was the only concession that they made. But you don't break the law in Singapore. That thing with the stewardesses and in the air telling you about the drugs. When you land in the airport, you have a second chance, you know. When you land in the airport, they tell you, nobody asking no questions. You see that bin, that toilet, go, flush it, throw it away. Don't let it be found on you. In Trinidad, we found, even now it's a lot, 20 years ago, $600 million worth of cocaine. $600 million worth of cocaine on Monas Island. That's what they got. It took trucks to move $600 million worth of cocaine. Nobody of substance was ever arrested, charged. There was no investigation. Trinidad, not Mexico, not Colombia. Trinidad sent $1 billion worth of cocaine in the hull of a sailboat outfitted in Chaguaramas in Trinidad. $1 billion worth of cocaine. Trinidad, not Colombia, not Mexico, sent $300 million worth of cocaine to Norfolk, Virginia, Trinidad. The current AG went to the parliament and said the person who sent it is a ghost and the person he sent it to was another ghost. 2 ghosts. In post 9/11, you're bullshitting me. Post 9/11, where for you to ship your shoe, they need your shoe size, your name, your birth certificate, and who receiving it, they own too. Post 9/11, you going to ship drugs and you not properly manifested, and it's the receiver not properly manifested. You're bullshitting me. Faris Al-Rawi, you bullshit the nation. This is a country, not Colombia, not Mexico, shipped $600 million worth of drugs in 2014 to Canada. Nobody's been held, nobody's been charged, nobody's been arrested, nobody's been prosecuted. This is a country where a man went into a nursing home in the East with a ruptured condom of cocaine in his body, and the surgery was performed to take out all of the condoms full of cocaine. It was given to the man and his handlers, and all of them left. No police. Since then, no investigation, no prosecution, no charge. There's something else I'm going to tell you. This one going to shock you. Before I get to that, This is the country where somebody bought a soft drink made in Trinidad and Tobago in England, opened it, drank it, and dropped dead. Their heart burst in their chest. It was pure liquid cocaine. This is this country. Now in Singapore, a stick of weed could get you 10 years in jail. 10 years. In Trinidad, we move billions of dollars. The Scott Drug Report, that was the Commission of Inquiry overseen by Justice Scott, was so properly done. It talked about the people who Naim Naya used to put in cages in his fruit stand in El Socorro. I read it cover to cover. Scott Drug Report named high-ranking members of society, government ministers, people who went on, having been named in that drug report, to being in cabinet in the PNM and being appointed to state boards in the UNC, even though they were named in the drug report. A drug report so damning that it was thought that to lay this in the parliament may destroy Trinidad and Tobago. So many names called. And I have asked every prime minister, if the Scott Drug Report, and look at the current head of SORT, Inspector Alexander, or Superintendent, wherever he is now, in the Vice video, listen to what he said. That in the 80s, when we could get a handle on the drugs, that's when the Scott Drug Report was done. In the 80s, we could get a handle on it. Now it's insane. He said, there are legitimate business empires in this country whose foundation is pure, high-quality cocaine and cocaine money, Trinidad and Tobago. There are people who said that Robbie created the value-added tax system and lotto to get a piece of the money that was passing through expendable income outside of the mainstream economy, because there's something called the alternate economy. In Trinidad and Tobago, actually we'll stick a pen in that one. We'll stick a pen in that one. But I'm hoping former judge, stick a pen. Stick a pin in everything from now on. But I'm saying to you, in Singapore, that's a real country. And it is why they were able to become crime-free, drug-free. Corruption is an executable offense. It is treason. It's a capital crime. Corruption is, don't even contemplate it. And they're hanging you in daylight with a viewer's gallery. The only person in politics that speaks to this consistently for the past 28 years is me. It is me that keeps these issues alive. It is me and only me. No politician in the parliament that has the benefit of parliamentary privilege and the power of the Hansard to put these things down in black and white in our country's history, they won't do it. Ask them why. Ask them why they won't. Because even the young ones in the UNC and the Johnny-come-latelys in the PNM who know, they can't speak, they get fired immediately. They lose the perks. And them perks prettier, them blue lights, a curfew pass, the tax-free thing on your car. So when you hear other wannabe politicians talking about if they're in office and their first day in office, miss me with your bullshit. Because one, you have to know how to go after it. And two, you have to have been consistent with it here. I've been consistent here. I terrorize governments with Akil Chambers' name. I terrorized them. I created something called the Justice for Children March. Every single year, I would bring out all of the people that have anything to do with children and children's issues. And we march year after year. The Akil Chambers Justice for Children March, and kept Akil Chambers' face front and center till Akil Chambers' family came out and in tears spoke at one of the meetings, and it forced Glenn Ramadas Singh to go in the parliament a Monday after we march and put 25,000 people in the street. And if you don't know what 25,000 people look like, we start our march at the back of King George V Park, and we march round the Savannah. We reach Memorial Square. The front of the march in Memorial Square, the back of the march still Air Leave Sinclair. As the size of what walked 25,000 people. Where is our Children's Authority? Where is the funding for the Children's Authority? Why is the Children's Authority bill not law? And we send him in that parliament. So when all your talk, all your political buzz talk, have a pedigree, have something to show. I did this. To put 25,000 people on the road year after year after year, and people could tell you, Tracy Shepherd could tell you, Susanna Akwi Camacho could tell you, because you're hearing the other people talking, and it's sounding like King Philip saying. But let me get some fact now. Show your pedigree. Show what you've done. I terrorize the business community till I get blue reserved handicap parking in this country. I got that. I remember when the manager of Hilo West Mall, when she see me, it was Hilo then. When I pull up in the store, she said, hey, yes, you outside? Because she knew how hard I was fighting for it. We still don't have. Ask Rolling Thunder and the rest of the handicapped fellas who will be selling the curricue tickets and the barbecue tickets outside Price Mart and every grocery in Trinidad, how this gone when they see me, because they know that I will fight for them, because I have been fighting for them for 27 years. I fought for the orphans and the orphanages. There are people who are full-grown men and women in the 20s now and the 30s who were orphans when we planted across the street from the Archbishop's house. There is something called the Jericho tree. It's a liang tree. And Amory Brown and Vasant Bharat was there to help us plant that tree. 2010. That tree is the Jericho tree. And that tree is a liang tree that we got from the Ministry of Agriculture, Horticultural Society. And we planted that tree as a living symbol that we will never stop fighting for the orphans. And we didn't. And Dikoto was the Minister of Social Development. When I went to him and I told him, do you know that the state of Trinidad and Tobago puts orphans in orphanage homes and do not pay? That those children suffer and starve? And he organized a subvention, and God bless his soul. He organized a second raise on the subvention that the orphan homes got. And me and Jeffrey McLean and the rest of the team, Tara Dial, everybody who built this from the start, we used to go all over the country to all the orphanage homes, Sangre Grande, Claxton Bay, Gasparillo, Belmont. We used to go and we made it fashionable. We made it fashionable. We got all of the tops in society, all of the artists, everybody with a name. We launched this thing called Brands of Hope. Sure that he donated 5 floors of a building on Queen Street, stocked with inventory. Carnival week, we had to abandon Carnival and spend 5 days taking security thing off of socks and shoes and parent shoes and getting pants and shirts. And we dealt with every single charity in this country. We lined them up on Queen Street, one after the other, and load them up with bags of clothes to take, to share for all the charities. So when I tell you that we reach out to the world for food and we're going to work with all the charities, take my word for it, because I've done this before. I've done this already. So it's not just talk for me. I outside here fighting long time. An organization called 141 was founded in San Fernando and started doing what the Jericho Project was doing for the homeless in San Fernando. And it looked like they was copying us. And some people were upset. They said, are you mad? That's what we want. We want more of those. We want one to grow in Chaguanas. We want one to grow in Tobago. We can't be everywhere. And the mission is to help the homeless, wherever they are homeless. And 141 did real good work. And I don't know who was funding them, and I didn't care. They had all kind of barbershop day. We invented something called care packages. One Christmas, we just wanted to do something more because we fed them on Christmas Day, and 2 days later we gave them something called care packages. And it's always the donors, and you know yourself, all of you who've been with us all these years, decades now, is closing in on 30 years that we've been doing this, and we created care packages. And care packages was a bag, a reusable bag, with a towel and toothpaste and shampoo and conditioner and soap and toothbrush and shavers and shaving cream and personal hygiene tampons and things for women. And I remember a big grown friggin' vagrant, that's what we just call them in Trinidad, who just get on dirty and bad outside there and push people around, because when the food reach in front, he watch me and he cry. He say, boss, well, they really see us as people. When he get that package in his hand, he said, they see us. They say no stunt, or they seeing us as people. A family had a little fella here from the States who was with us, who came out as young little fellas and went back to America, and they did care packages over there and told the story of when they were in Trinidad and make news in America, how when they were in Trinidad, how they were part of this Jericho project that took care packages for the homeless in Trinidad and Tobago. When they come to talk, ask them for their pedigree, ask them for their resume, show me your activism, what you've done, and don't give me the bullshit, but don't let your left hand see what your right hand doing. We need to see what both your freaking hands doing. We need to know, because we get plenty talk. There are plenty that has come and talk sweet, you know, give you nice words in your ears, tell you all the things you want to hear. And when you give them the chance, look at it. Got chamfer. I could run, I could hop, I could skip. I know that about sports, but I could take that Ministry of Sports salary. And I'm saying these things because I want you to understand, when I tell you that the only today, I pull over on Chagrit Road, my mother called me. And she said, them things you talk last night, boy Philip, it really, you're really talking them things. I say, Mom, talk to my sisters and organize them so that we could all leave. Because the only reason we still here is because of you and Daddy. Because if I am honest with Trinidadians who are not part of the corruption and the criminality, if I was to be completely honest with them, I don't want to trick them for their vote. I don't want to con them to be a member and support me. I want them to survive and to thrive. I want them to go somewhere in the world. You see, I want to know that because I was alive, I've changed other people's lives. I want people to say at my funeral, that man, boy, he never stopped. He didn't give up on us. Homeless people. I know a homeless couple that was falling apart. She was dying from AIDS. She had big chunks missing from her body. And we used to see them every Christmas. And one Christmas I went and she wasn't there. And he said, yeah, boy, she passed away. I'm talking to a vagrant about his vagrant wife who was living in the streets. The fluids flowing from open wounds on her body, dying from AIDS. I want to know that I've been honest. I want to know, joke and fun aside, when I come out and start in politics, a fella called Dane Wilson and a bunch of others used to put out things about me. He's a con man, he's a thief, he's a all kind. But listen now, Dane and them publish a thing. We have it. We have it saved from a legal matter that we had. And when we printed out what was the Facebook conversation, all the messages, it was this much paper, almost a ream of paper, of attack after. And I sit down there and I read that, boy. I telling myself, I mean, it hurted me, names of people that I know. When people say, I was there, I see him. When you see people that you know lie on you, it has cut away things that cut don't ever feel like that. That cut don't heal. When people who you know that, you see when they say don't put your neck on a block for nobody, that is the truest statement. And to sit down and watch and to see people and it hurted me, but I thinking to myself, my family had to read this. My family gonna see this. People go tell my sisters or my brother or my mother. My mother gonna end up encountering this. And they think it'll be nice. She's not gonna be happy about that. They're gonna hurt them. And I'm bringing my family and I'm thinking, I am bringing my family into the shit show that is Trinidad politics. And I have fought so hard. They have a single person could say that about me anymore. People know and they see and they say, nah, not he. Not he. Not that many years. Not that many years serving the way he served, not he. Fool me with somebody else, not he. They say all kind of thing about me. They make video and accuse me all kind of shit. You know. This journey has not been an easy one. So when people jump out themselves and using my words to sound like me, to get the exclamations of, yes, that's what we want to hear. You can't just talk my talk if you didn't walk my walk. You can't just come out and say that if you didn't pay the pound of flesh that I pay to be here. Because it has not been easy. My voice, my hair, I lose hair. I damaged my foot. My doctor tell me as an ass. I walk for 8 hours on an injured foot that now is injured beyond repair, has to have surgery, has to break bones to fix back. 3 months off. When you come to this guile with me, you see, they hide in. That's why I tell you, come in as a pussy lawyer. These pussies in the PNM that have to hide behind lawyers, they go to court and say, Philip making my business, my wife, my children, my mother, my sister, the neighbors, they pointed at me. We need an injunction. Don't let them call me name again. But you're in public office. You're in public office. And judges supposed to say, like the Privy Council said in the Ramadan matter, hey, public office holders have to be held to a different standard. You can't be thin skin and be outside there. You can't play mass and freight powder. If you're inside the public domain and people saying things about you, it is a different thing. He who alleges must prove in normal life. But when you're in public life, you have to have a responsibility to keep your own name clear, your own hands clean, your own heart pure. We have to question you in a country so corrupt. We've lost $3 trillion. In a country so corrupt that right now, the present government, thieving Wassa, thieving the port. Right now, they're thieving work. They're giving contracts to Chinese companies and their friends and their financiers to build shit like an airport in Tobago that nobody want, nobody need, and we can't afford. They're building a freaking flyover in Diego Martin. Call members and the friends that nobody wants, nobody needs, except the handful of people living in Victoria Keys who want to go West Mall quicker. And DDI. Help me get to the yacht club faster. I don't want to have to come out and drive with them powder magazine people all the way to Mokorapo to come back. To turn back to go DDI. So the rest of Trinidad, all the little poor old ladies and the poor old men outside there hustling and splitting 125 cents to try and eat and to live and to pay tax. That tax going to pay Chinese people overpriced $500 million to build a flyover that can't serve this country. So when you all jump in the conversation, you see, every time somebody message me and say, boy, Philip, I love you, you're sweet too bad, the words you're saying, I wish I was there, I could help you. I would stand up and say, listen, you gotta be here to help me. Felicia number is 7694590. Send some money because I have lawyers' bills to pay. Lawyers' bills to pay. Because I am the only one, not even the freaking opposition. Up to this day, Kamla Persad Bissessa can't ask about the $500 million spent on the Red House, and Kamla Persad Bissessa know why. Because the same bandits that the PNM dealing with, UNC dealing with too. Same bag of money politics that the PNM leaders has get, the UNC leaders has get too. So Kamla can't ask them questions. So you don't have a real opposition. They hand tied, they mouth gagged. They arguing shit. Boyfriend, girlfriend, pull your pigtail bullshit politics is our parliament. And the issues that should matter to you in a country this corrupt, we've moved billions of dollars of cocaine through the world. And nobody in our justice system and our law enforcement system have been able to get a handle on one. So tell me, all who sounding like me, what you wanna do? What you gonna do for that? How you gonna play them games? So So when you say, Phil boy, do a lie for we tonight now. Finish the sentence, I send 100 US by Felicia. Because it sounds like a lot of money, but it's not. We've spent $76,000 in the last 3 months on legal fees. Defending defamation lawsuits. Yeah? So when you think, and you hear them talk, and they're singing like Philip, but a little prettier, ask them, show me a pedigree. How long you in this thing? What it cost you? Let me see the scars on your hands, the mark on your back. Show me the wound in your side. How long? How did you get to here? What brought you into the politics? What did you give up? What did you surrender? What did you lose? What did it take from you? That's the truth. And I'm saying to every single person, when I have 1,300 views happening, right now should be 5,000 views, but there is a corruption at the local level. There's an actual organization operating Facebook in Trinidad, and there's a corruption there too. So they're doing everything in their power. I will show you screenshots of shit that we get from Facebook that limiting our output. Believe that? And still getting millions of views. Millions. It will be more millions if these things wasn't happening. But I want to say to everybody, don't just tell me you like me or you love me. Show me your love. Love me like a verb. A man the other night, he hear me talk, he say, the man sent $5,000. A next man sent a phone, the next morning look a phone. Because they get it, they understand. Long after the talk done, if I switch off tonight, them lawsuits running for years. Years. I have put myself in a place in the politics where I have to decide on a daily basis, am I prepared to die for my country or should I leave? And for those who talking like me and sounding like me, they're not walking where I walk in. So they don't know. They don't know when the head in Trinidad of a United States law enforcement agency sent me a WhatsApp with information saying there is a credible threat on your life and sent me pictures of the person that they've been told was hired to do the job. Hear that? The first time you hear that, your blood is run cold. And then you think, who do I tell? Who do I turn to? I call my lawyer, my very good friend, my lawyer. And she and an ex-magistrate, they called me over and we made some calls. I went and did an official report in the police station. Hear me now. I never get a single call from the police. I heard that the gentleman was caught up in another incident and lost his life in a shootout. And that's the kind of information and the kind of shit that I have been dealing with to fight for this country. To fight for it. This is not me trying to get a job. Brian Manning and Simon de Nobrega and Saddam Hussein and these Johnny-come-latelys, they bring nothing to the conversation. Rowley would have put his forehead on the ground if I had agreed to take Diego Martin Central. Ask Rudal Monilal who they wanted to run for Diego Martin West. And I stood as an independent of those two organizations, because until I build my own political cachet, I can't sell my political soul. I can't enable people. The Bible says the upholder worse than the thief. And all of us need to hear that, because we say not every raindrop causes the flood, but all of them together do. All of them together do. And we are collectively responsible. So when Brian Lewis say, this is a jokey country, it is. It's a corrupt country. It's a don't-care country. When you compare Trinidad to Singapore, we started off bright and shiny. Singapore started off as a crime den. Singapore is first world, developed. Its economy just eclipsed the mighty United States of America as the most competitive economy in the world. Trinidad is broken. Nothing works. We're a failed nation. We're a shithole. We lead the world in corruption. We lead the world in violence and murder. We lead the world per capita in homelessness, drug abuse. Check these numbers. Go and check those numbers. We have matters before the criminal court that will take 400 years if no new matters come in today. 400 years. We have people on remand for murder in a country that cannot handle more than, I think it's 12 or 50, I can't remember the number right now, cases per year. So that means they can't even get in front of a judge for the next 20 and 30 years. They're in jail already. This is Trinidad and Tobago. And every single government and every single member of parliament, including Kamla Persad-Bissessar, have to know these things. Keith Rowley is the head of the National Security Council. Why nobody in the media don't ask Keith Rowley? Why don't we commission an inquiry into the drug trade and its impact on our entire public service and state machinery? Why don't we do that now? Why do that now? Because I'll tell you something. When Gary Griffith had appointed Inspector Alexander to head SORT, this senior police officers told me this, and everybody getting kicks and laughing. But when the rumor surfaced, and they asked the commissioner who you put in to run SORT, he said, Alexander. For a brief while, some people who have so much cocoa in the sun, they can't take rain, panicked, and his phone blew up. We are saying, man, we're telling we. And as funny as that sounds, it makes the point that a vote for me, just me in that parliament, will start to crack and erode the criminal enterprise that has destroyed this country from the Prime Minister's office down for the past 58 years. Just me in that parliament will crack it and shake it to its foundation. Me, as Prime Minister, will clean this country from stem to stern. Now, I have no reason to tell you this tonight other than I want a better country, because I know I will die one day, and I am leaving friends and family, but most importantly, I'm leaving children here. And your children, what you want is to protect them in your absence. After you're gone, you want to make sure that the world that you created for them is so safe, that they're okay, that your name and their name so strong, that they live in a country where everybody's free and everybody's safe. And that's what I want, or to get the hell out. I don't want to leave nobody behind. So my mother will hear, because her friends just call and say, Philip called your name on his video last night, and he said you're keeping him back from leaving the country. But how do you get the people who have been told that the little piece of nonsense that they get from the PNM, CPEP, URP, HDC, wherever, that if I come into office, they lose that? How do you get them to understand? How do you get them to understand? People so broken by PNM inculcation, that cult, we call it a cult. They breed poison one into each other's ear, and they fool them, and they tell them, this as good as it gets. Call Miss as good as it gets. Rohan Sinanan, Camille Robinson Regis is as good as it gets. Donna Cox. When they slap you in your face and piss on your head, that's holy piss and loving slaps. How do you get them to understand you were really entitled to be a millionaire? This country had $3 trillion. Your share of the money alone should have at least guaranteed that you have a home and that your children get proper education, proper health care, and a chance to maximize their full potential. Watering your taps every day, that's the easiest thing to do. Everywhere else in the world doing it. The Romans 2,000 years ago developed aqueducts to move water from the valley over the mountain. We can't take water that we can. Today alone, the rain that falls from the sky today alone could have drowned Trinidad in water. We can't capture, hold, treat, and distribute But they do that in Babylon. They invented in Persia, in now modern day Iran. They found these centrifugal holes going down underground, hundreds of feet, drilled into granite, and they wasn't understanding what it was for. And then they realized that what these are wind dams. Believe it or not, wind dams that forces air down into the caverns below to push the water up. We can't catch rain. Wassa, for all the billions we spend on Wassa every year, we spend $500 million desalinating seawater in a country that takes 90% of the rain that falls from the sky and throw it away in the sea. All of our canals flow into rivers and all of our rivers flow to the sea. We don't capture it. We don't hold it. We do not have dams, retention ponds, because if we did, the Salcott closed down tomorrow. And they know that. Ask Kamala why she don't bring that up in the parliament. Ask if she was the one who renewed the Salcott's contract while she was prime minister, even though it wasn't up for renewal yet. Ask her that. You see, I want to say this, and I don't want to rain on Kamala's parade. And people keep telling me, boy, Phil, we had to move the PNM, and I keep thinking, yeah, we had to move the PNM because here we back on the squad, real tiffin. But then I'm thinking that moving the PNM and putting the UNC and Harry back and them move over there because that's what goes on. That's what goes on. You can't trust either side. They've all had a chance. And there are some fellas in those two parties. I want to call two names for you. Fuad Khan and Fitzgerald Hines. I could work with them. I could work with Fuad Khan and I could work with Fitzgerald Hines because they are known quantities. You know what that means? That you could get them to speak the truth, and truth is a scarce commodity in this country. Political truth is gold. And Fitzgerald Hines and Fuad Khan, love them or hate them, have a natural predisposition to err towards the truth. I ain't saying that they wasn't in government and they didn't get themselves in whatever every politician gets. I don't know and I'm not there, so I can't say. But I'm just telling you based on a surface, my judgment, what I believe. I like people with heart and soul who have the courage of their convictions. Amory Brown is chaff in the wind. Amory Brown don't believe a single word that comes out his mouth because he don't believe what he himself says. Amory Brown need PNM position so bad he will lie on himself and curse his own tongue. So you can't believe a word that he says. He is a dancing jackass, Amory Brown. Now that's hard to hear me say because I walked with him and I marched with him and he planted a tree with me. But then his whole political career has demonstrated he can't be trusted further than you can pick him up and pelt him. Because if you say one thing, stand by it. Don't let political expediency, make a money, eat a food, drive you to go back on your word. I don't have to care what people think in a country so nasty, so disgusting, that politicians say one thing today and do one thing tomorrow. I don't care what other people say, but I care what I see when I look in the mirror. And I care what my children see. My son just cuss me all the time. You know how much money we gonna make? Shithongs making billions. You know how much money we gonna make? Just hold a corner. He growing up in that tight pants world, where all the girls seem to be interested in encouraging fellas. They don't care how they get the money, just have the money to spend on them so they could flam their ass on Facebook and Instagram. See people saying thing here, you're hearing yourself, Gerard Lee, you didn't hear me. Press rewind. When the show done, listen again and see what I say. Because I'm telling you, the reason why Fitzgerald Hines can't get another press conference and they wouldn't let him speak at another press conference is because Fitzgerald Hines has to tell the truth. He is so arrogant that if you press him, you'll squeeze truth out of him. And by the time the media ask him the same question twice, he can't continue the lies. So when he tell them, he say, all right, we expect, we know, you know, I know, it's friggin' Venezuelans coming in the country. We could only secure 15 beach. We don't have enough. And all of them sit down behind the curtain and say, shit, what this man just say. What did he just admit? That the country is a narco state because we have our borders wide open and that all of the COVID-19 that sickening our people and killing them, we let in by our incompetence. Our Minister of National Security just admitted that, and not one single media operative can press the point. Why? They won't get invited back. How I know that? Look what just happened to Ubashi. Look what just happened to Ubashi, Tiwari, Rupnaran. All of we standing with Ubashi, we standing. Raise a Ubashi flag. How you standing? Where? What you doing? This is a shit show of a country because of us. We will tolerate shit, clap for shit, laugh for shit, show up for the performance. What's next? Where's the popcorn? Pass the base. And that's why they do it. Because they could get away with it. Because we have no self-respect and we don't take ourselves seriously and we're irresponsible with our democracy, and that's why we're probably going to lose it. We're not galloping to a dictatorship. We're in a full-blown dictatorship right now. You have no civil rights. You have no civil liberties. Kamala just do the last stunt she had. She voted no confidence in this minister, voted no confidence in that minister, voted no confidence in the police officer by the front door. I want to vote no confidence in the doubles man on the corner. She run out and use her vote no confidence, and now she's storming out. Alright, you storm out. Storm out, okay. You call a press conference and take a picture, 370 people. You storm out yesterday. Your UNC page, 370 people watch you. You as irrelevant as tits on a bull. What do you do now? You have no civil liberties. You have no human rights. Your family, if they fall sick, go in a hospital and you hear they're dead and they bury them. Or they cremate them. You don't know. You don't see. Because you don't have no rights anymore. Pandemic! Killing you. Your opposition is a waste of time. A complete waste of time. Carl Member gets to comment in The Guardian about Kamala's vote of no confidence in Speaker of the House is absurd and empty. But the UNC is a one-trick pony. While they were in government, they did the shit, believe it or not. And I told them, this is insane. You're giving credibility and relevance to something you should ignore. They did a vote of no confidence in Keith Rowley and it backfired so badly, it pushed them out of government. They're so cocky, so arrogant, so empty, so puerile, and lacking in any political substance that all they know how to do is fight. Fight, behave like you in opposition, and they've done that to themselves. So now you've run out of plays. What's your next play, Kamala? You, to the citizens of the country, your government is a dictatorship. What Keith Rowley did in the parliament yesterday flew in the face of all tradition, but this is a country where name don't mean nothing to nobody. So Bridget Anisette George don't care what they think about she. In the United Kingdom, the person who sits in the chair of the Speaker of the House does. They care very much. Their name is important to them. To escalate and elevate yourself in high society in the United Kingdom, to get the order of the Queen and knighted, you have to have an impeccable career. And they all want that. In their last years, they want to be called Sir. Sir so-and-so, Lady so-and-so. They want that more than a crackhead want crack. They want that bad. So if something is coming close to damaging that, to be in Lloyd's of London, the largest reinsuring firm in the world, you have to have a name. They consider your name. To get in the upper house, you have to be a lord. Those things matter in Trinidad. You are canal conga, a river rat, a shit snake, and you don't care. My husband making money, my wife is a contractor, we spraying water and making millions. F that. Trinidad, that's Trinidad's. That should be the center of our coat of arms. F that. Because nobody gives a shit. They don't care what you think, and you don't care that they don't care. So we live in a shithole. All of us in our little cliques and our little Facebook conversations, talking cryptic comments, instead of working together, rowing together for a better country. You are wasting time, pissing your pants in a dark suit. Give you a warm feeling, but nobody really notices. We're not getting nothing done. We're not getting nothing done. I say to you, love me or hate me, you know that I'm a man of action. I have a long pedigree. My political and social activism resume, big. I have done a lot. I am the only person who has never held political office in this country that could say he built a highway and was instrumental in the passage of 2 laws, the Dangerous Dog Act and the Children's Authority. I was responsible for pulling those things from languishing and forcing them through the parliament without ever having been elected to office. And I was the designer and responsible for the Diego Martin bypass that has saved hundreds of millions of hours of man hours lost to traffic before. I did that for free. For free. And the traffic that's come out of Diego Martin in the morning, that jackass Suraj Rambachan, I went to see him, cocky, arrogant ass, who just get COVID and find God, so you want to go and sing bhajans in the middle of the freaking highway. These jackasses swing from pillar to post like literal chimpanzees. We vote into office, you know. Suraj Rambachan, who I sat with and I told, listen, it is a simple matter of moving the pavement back 10 feet and we have the extra lane that we need. Everything from Powder Magazine to the community hospital, it exists. Just move the pavement back. Come on one Sunday morning with a Baba Green, some blue metal, some pitch and a steamroller. And Monday morning we traffic free. 2 lanes out of Digo, 2 lanes out of Caranage, all the way down to the Foreshore Western Main Road changeover. They'll never have traffic in Diego Martin again. Call him, but tell them in the parliament, we knew about that for 50 years. I said, you sit on it, you jackass. I make sure it bill. You've been the MP. Not me, but I fix it. All of that to tell you, going forward from here, the chances of me getting elected to high office, much less prime minister, without corrupting my soul and joining PNM UNC is less than Keith Rowley's sprouting blonde hair. Less. Because in this country, all that I just said to you, hey, that nice, eh? He talk nice tonight, eh? What's on TV now? What we binge watching? What's on Netflix and chill? And all that shit. It's a shithole. Because when given options, we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, we choose shit. That's what we do. But I tell you this for free again. When you're talking, if I am in parliament, crime and corruption done. If I am in parliament, the borders secure tighter than a nun's ass. If I in parliament, rest assured, Mukurapu and Fatima have to be on the same level, both prestige, or I will know why. If I in parliament, the theft that is the RHAs, Regional Health Authorities, all that gone. If I am in parliament, the special purpose companies, EFCL, Sporty, EMBD, UDICOT, all that gone. Tenders, public, bright, broad tender. National Insurance Board repurposed to a proper insurance program. Anybody earning less than $100,000 a year, the state insures you. Everybody else is contributory and it pays for public health. And it gives you a public health system second to none. We will put, if I were the one making the decision, constituency complete with ambulance service so you're never more than 10 minutes away from a proper emergency response in an emergency. So you don't have to clog the nation's hospitals. But we building hospitals like jackasses, Point Fortin and Rima. We building hospitals all over the place. And they know we don't need those hospitals. What we need are emergency rooms. If you are a long stay patient, drop you in an ambulance, get you to another hospital. We already have those spaces. What we need are emergency rooms, casualty. They know that. I know that. You know that. But we cutting ribbon and opening shit. Where we build the Coopers Children's Hospital, China sell we shit. We buy it. We use it for the AFL. We needed it for the Corona. No problem. But what Point Lisas needed was a burn unit, and we still don't have that. That's what we needed for Point Lisas, a burn unit, because God bless we. All them explosions that happen in the day, 20, 30, 40 people get burned in a fireball, they have nowhere to take them in this country. Man had to dead. And we know that, they know that, you know that, we voting for shit. We voting for shit. All of the rivers in Trinidad and Tobago could be transformed. The rivers themselves could be transformed into holding bays for water. You know that? Sunk along the way, the last 2 miles of every river, you could sink retention ponds. You know that Brian Lara Promenade, everything from Hyatt to the cathedral, you could excavate 100 feet down and float Brian Lara Promenade over the largest retention pond in the country. And everything that's flowing down from the hills of Cascade, St. Anne's and the Savannah will be captured and moved from there after the rain done to the reservoirs. And the same water that running down, powering, turning dynamos, that's saving the energy to power them pumps. You gotta do like Sinanan and put 2 little ship pump down by the cruise ship complex to pump the overflow when Independence Square flood. This is a shithong country. We vote for shithongs. We accept shithong business. And we outside there whining with neck down to the ground. And still tonight, 510,000 people know that the UNC are a thiefdom. Will support them because it's their race. And that black people again, we want Indian people will give me, so we gotta take we better on that. Phil, we ain't sure about you. We ain't sure you'll give me lights and road and slipper drain and what was the thing? Box drain, boy. The box drain government. You can't get them wrong. Because they was running box drain by a mile. You know why? Because a box drain is the first thing you get before you get a pavement. And they never got it. Eric Williams, Patrick Manning, George Chambers, criminals. May they all rot for eternity. Because the East Indian communities never got box drains. So you come out your house, and what you get accustomed to seeing in country is the road end, we're all looking like a pond and a river between the road and these people's house, where the box drain should have go. So it stands to reason that the UNC would have spent billions of dollars building box drains. But there was a lot of corruption in the award of the contracts. That we know, they know, you know. I say, well, Phil, we ain't sure to get them drains from you. So what we do? We hold every corner. We Syrian for Syrian, Indian for Indian, Chinese for Chinese, African for African. And we sit down, we hold every corner, and we say we betting that our piece of the ship will float while the rest sink to the bottom of the sea. And that's what makes us the greatest asshole nation in the world, because we are the most blessed place on the planet. Lee Kuan Yew must be turning in his grave to think that his country eclipsed ours when Trinidad, without oil, gas, and pitch, could still have been one of the richest countries in the world just because of where we located on the planet. Just for that, and how fertile our soil is. We were a net food exporter up to the 70s. Ask them what to do with that. $5 billion US imported food is what we living on. Processed GMO cornstarch shit. But half my fridge full with just a hydrofarm greens every week. Fat bundle up at Choiso. The man scythe like mutants. Half a head of scythe is a whole bottle of green seasoning. It not going unfixed. Father Harold Imamsha, who blessed me when I announced myself politically all those years ago, he said, we must be servants who lead and leaders who serve. I will never forget those words. It fell on me like the water he threw. Servants who lead and leaders who serve. I'll never forget. But the conversation turned to let it go. And others have said, leave it. Leave it. It's going to need good people after it collapses. I know. I don't know, boy. I don't know. But I'll tell you this for sure. For certain. The state of emergency must end. And I will be outside there, even if I have to be outside there on crutches. Now, God spare life. But I want to tell you, if you come here to stand with me, walk with a candle. Whatever day the state of emergency ends, I outside the next day with my candle. We will pick up where we left off. We have 128,500 signatures on a petition. Again, something that broke national records. Nobody will ever eclipse that again. The closest they came was Stephen Katie's and then with the 90,000. This is 128,500 perfect signatures. Paul Naus reject about 50,000 that he say he want to make sure they can't question it. So we have 128,500. We counted live on camera. We have that to serve. We didn't let that issue become 9 days. Yeah, 9-day people, we went on for months till you had to call a state of emergency to shut it down. Because they knew after Knox Street, when Jackass Martinez threw it out we square, the people came out in droves in the rain. Watching them in the rain, light the candle and the lighter and the phone. When in chance say, light it. And I turn around and I just see thousands of people. But I say, my country turning around. When we leave them, we went Baraka grounds and I watch the size of that crowd. Masked, social distance, the space big like this. People there, we make sure everybody had the 6 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet space. They knew that Arima was going to be huge, but San Fernando, heading south, we booked a massive car park because we knew, COVID or no COVID, 10,000 people was coming out. The government was aware. The candlelight movement was changing, bringing hope, bridging realities, giving people black, white, red, green, and every shade in between, something that they could have belonged to and stand up for. All of a sudden, we was feeling good again, and it was okay to feel good again. It's time to feel good again, Trinidad and Tobago. At some point, the state of emergency must end. The day after it ends, we're going by the Red House. Until tomorrow, hey, before I go, if you're not yet a member of the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago, citizensuniontt.org, citizensuniontt.com. If I am just here for entertainment, well, you and me wasting time, because while I have no problem doing this, I could talk for 3 days straight. But while I have no problem doing it, is sharing my information and giving you something to watch. If you want it to become something that changes your life and the lives of your children and your children's children, come on board and help us. We need your financial help and we need volunteers. Today we wrote the world. Today we wrote the world and sent out letters to Guyana and to Jamaica and to high commissioners in England and Spain and France, and we wrote USAID and we wrote the World Bank and United Nations, and we asked all of them for food, and we started documenting and creating links with all of the activist groups and churches and charities and say, listen, as soon as this food come, if food come, we share it with you all. We share it. We're not doing the distribution. Our job is to get and distribute to you. Your job is to put it in hungry mouths, on tables. That is the plan. If you want to help, come on board and help. Satish Ramsaran, reach out to Satish and say, if you know people that could send food for us, container rice, container potato, container. They have groceries in America. Grocery chains that could send 10 containers and don't feel it. Send 10 containers for we. Help us out. We need to feed our people. That's all we're trying to do. This is not a political movement. We're just trying to put food where the hungry people are. If you're not yet a member of the Citizens Union, go to citizensuniontt.com now and join. Join it now. If you can't pay the $350, pay $3 and tell them when you're going to pay the others. And join. We need everybody on board. And those of you who are in a financial position right now, who have more money than God, please send us 5,000 or 10,000 or 20,000. We need it. Give us the strength to stand. We've been standing, fighting. I have been doing this 28 years now. I'll give you my pedigree tonight. I stood against everything. No matter what it was, I stood and I'm still standing. Help me stand taller. Help me stand for you. Help us do something that could go forward down. People say, hey, because people calling there, say, what with pep, boy? Start back up the pep now. Feel there's your time. I don't know. We thinking, we talking, we feeling our way around. Maybe, who knows? But for us to go forward, we need your help and we need your support and we need your financial support. We don't have $300 million drug lords on our squad. We need to raise our money $1 clean at a time. You want a clean government unbeholden to anybody? Put out something because you will benefit from it in the long run.